Poultry Palate, a recipe app I just published on iOS App Store. It has over 25 recipes spanning across multiple categories like chicken dishes, pasta, seafood, vegetarian, breakfast, desserts, basically all types of recipes, not just poultry. Users can browse through recipes, search by category, view detailed cooking instructions with ingredients and steps, and favorite their preferred recipes. Some recipes are free, while premium recipes are locked behind a one-time $9.99 purchase, which unlocks everything forever. And it's live right now. Anyone can download it. But the interesting part is that I built this entire app using AI tools for the heavy lifting. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the complete process from start to finish. This is the real workflow. Let's get into it. Step 1, I needed a clear plan. So I started with an MVP proposal document, basically a list of all features and requirements. The app is called Poultry Palate because I initially started with chicken recipes and then expanded to all types of cuisine. The core features I outlined were browsing, search, favorites, and the most important, the premium content model. This document became our blueprint. With a plan in place, I moved to design. This is where Stitch completely changed the game. Instead of spending days in Figma manually designing the screens, I describe what I want to the AI and it generates the results. I prompt what I want to the AI and it generates the mockups. The entire design phase took a few hours total across a few days. These mockups became a visual reference for development. Stitch translates my functional requirements into actual UI that I can build from. Now comes development, and this is where GitHub Copilot in VS Code saves me hours every single day. I barely write any of my code manually. Most of my code is written by Copilot. Now let me show you one of the components, what I prompted and what Copilot wrote. It writes the entire component structure, from import, state management, styling with proper layout, everything. I just tab through what doesn't fit. And same with the Firebase queries. This is all the code that Copilot wrote. Copilot writes the entire Firebase queries with error handling included. The key is I know what I'm building. I understand the data structure, the user flow, the business logic. Copilot handles the syntax, the boilerplate, the repetitive stuff. Now let me show you the Firebase backend. I'm using Firebase for everything backend related, Firestore for recipe database, Firebase Auth for user authentication, and Firebase Storage for recipe images. Here is my Firestore structure. First is the recipes collection, where each document has fields like title, image URL, primary category, etc. Second is the users collection, where we store user profiles, favorited recipes, etc. The recipe images are stored in Firebase storage and referenced by URL in Firestore documents. And the interesting part is that I'm not manually adding the recipes to Firebase. All my recipe data lives in this Google spreadsheet. I have over 25 recipes with all the details like recipe ID, title, image URL, everything. I linked the spreadsheet to Google Cloud Console using the steps that ChatGPT provided, gave the cloud service account the access to the sheet, and then deployed Firebase cloud functions to sync the data. Whenever I add or update a recipe in the spreadsheet, I just need to sync the Firebase function to Firestore. This way, I can manage content in a familiar spreadsheet interface without touching the code or the Firebase console every time. Now here is where things are going to get significantly more complex in-app purchases. I'm going to spend extra time on this because IAP is the core monetization strategy for this app and it was honestly the hardest part of the entire project. Let me walk you through the entire process from App Store Connect setup to code integration to multiple rejections and then finally getting it right. Step 1 is App Store Connect configuration. Firstly, I had to activate the paid apps agreement on App Store Connect. This isn't just a checkbox, it requires submitting tax forms, banking information, and signing legal contracts with Apple. That took some time to get processed and approved. You cannot sell anything on App Store until this is done. Once that was active, I created my IAP product. I have one product, Premium Lifetime, a non-consumable in-app purchase for $9.99 US. This is a one-time purchase that unlocks all premium recipes forever. Users don't have to pay monthly or yearly. They buy it once and own it permanently. For this product in App Store Connect, I had to configure a product ID that has to match exactly in your code, a reference name for internal tracking, pricing in all regions with currency conversions, localized description, and a screenshot. All of this has to be approved by Apple before you can test it. Step 2 is code integration with React Native IAP. I use the React Native IAP library, not Revenue Cat, not any other third-party service. This library handles all the communication between my app and Apple's toolkit. The purchase flow works like this. When the user taps on the locked premium recipe, they see a paywall screen. When they tap on the unlock premium button, the app initializes the IAP connection to Apple's servers, requests the available products using the product ID, displays the product with the pricing from Apple, and when they confirm the purchase, initiates the StoreKit purchase flow. Then Apple handles the payment processing and the biometric authentication. The app receives a purchase receipt and validates that receipt to prevent fraud, updates the user's Has Premium status in Firestore to true, and then unlocks all the premium recipes in the UI immediately. Simple in theory, painful in practice. Step 3, the rejection nightmare. Here's where it got brutal. I submitted to App Store review 4 to 5 times before it was approved. Here's what went wrong each time and how I fixed it. First rejection was the mystery dialog box. Apple rejected, saying that a dialog box appears before the purchase can be initiated. Turns out I had a debugging alert that I forgot to remove that fired before the purchase flow. It was checking if the IAP connection was initialized and was showing the alert with the connection status. Apple reviewers see this random dialog box, don't understand what it means, and reject the app because it's confusing for the users. For the fix, I removed all the debugging alerts and added proper error handling that doesn't show raw technical messages to the users. Second rejection, failed to initiate purchase. The purchase flow would start but immediately show failed to initiate purchase dialog box. After digging through ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot, and reading the React Native IAP documentation, I realized the issue. I wasn't properly handling the case where products haven't finished loading from Apple servers yet. If a user tapped the purchase button too quickly after opening the paywall screen, the product list wasn't ready. For the fix, I added a loading state, disabled the purchase button until the products are fully loaded from Apple, added a spinner to show loading products so that users know something is happening. Third rejection, nothing happened. This was a bit frustrating. Apple said that tapping the premium button does nothing. No error dialogues, no purchase flow, just nothing. So I went back to the code and found the issue. I was calling the purchase function, but I wasn't properly awaiting the result. So the function would start but exit immediately before the StoreKit flow could even begin. It looked like the button was broken. To fix that, I properly structured the async await flow. Made sure the purchase function completes fully before resetting the UI state. Step 4 is testing with sandbox users. Throughout all of this, I was testing with Apple sandbox users, special test accounts that let you make fake purchases without using real money. Step 5 is Firestore integration. Once the purchase goes through successfully, the Firestore is updated. Then, every time the app loads recipes, it checks whether the user has premium and then shows all the recipes. Finally, we need to build and deploy. I use Expo's EAS for building. Here's my ES.json configuration. When I'm ready to build, I run this command, and once it's done, I submit to App Store Connect. For the App Store review submission, I filled out all the metadata in App Store Connect and then sent for review. Apple's review process for IAP is very strict. If you're implementing it in your app, budget twice as much time as you think you need. Test every edge case, handle all errors gracefully, and be prepared for rejections. After several rejections and new builds, Poultry Palate is finally live now. You can download it from the App Store, browse all the recipes, unlock premium content if you want. Every app I build now follows the same workflow: AI-powered design, Copilot-assisted coding, and smart content management systems. That was it for this video. Thanks for watching.